Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris.
So there's a question I asked, said we were getting to later on, is a question I always ask all my guests that come on. So your thoughts on WBBL and the BBL and things that you see are working and things that you see that need to work on more.
Oh, that's a good question, and like I did send you a message saying I'm always honest. So I think the league's doing well, and it's so tough. Like it's probably easy for people to say, "Oh, the league's not doing this, or this." I think it's a very tough time, and I think Andy Webb does a great job chairing like the BBL and WBBL, and the staff that they have done a great job. So I can't really comment too much on the BBL, but on the WBBL, I always think we should have like a separate board who can make an overriding decision because it's a franchise. Clubs, even if they say they want the best for British basketball, which I think the majority of them do, they still want the best for their own club. So, I have no problem disclosing. I'm trying to see who's on this thing, but I have no problem disclosing. But a team asked for a rule change to have 3 Americans. At the minute, we only have 2 international and 3 European, and obviously, I don't really care because I work at a uni and I recruit about 6 Americans who just play Bucks anyway, who could easily play WBBL, but they're not able to. So for me, I'm like, well, that's fine. But then I also feel for those teams that have recruited and it's tough to make that rule change. So because of those instabilities, I think you need something like people who are separate from clubs to make an overarching decision on the league and the direction of the league because for example, Oakland's might say, we want just British players because they have a large amount of British players coming through their academy ranks, the same as a Barking. Or like a Nottingham might say, well, we got the money, so we want to, we want 6 professional, we want 6 spot players. So I think then it just becomes like, for me, I don't, luckily Paul Blake, God bless him, goes to the WBBL meetings that happen monthly. But from my point of view, nothing productive ever gets talked about. I still don't know when the season's going to start. They haven't asked the people when they're going to start. You need to look at, have we got arenas? Because Essex, Cardiff, if we were still playing out in Northumbria, maybe universities don't have their sports halls because they're going to get changed into classrooms. So, can the season even start? Because their sports halls might get taken away because if you think of, we got 16,000 students at Northumbria, only 1,000 play sport. So from a university point of view, I'm going to change those sports halls into classrooms because it's a no-brainer. So, these are the things that I think are more pressing, but we just end up, or from my experiences, we end up talking utter nonsense. So it's just it's frustrating for me. I want the game to go in the right direction. I'd happily take it down to four spot players. So you've got to either do a better job recruiting British players, giving them an incentive to come back in. I want the game to grow, but then on the same time, you want the league to be more professional. So what do other leagues do? Could you have 2 British players on court all the time? That means you got to fund British players. So I think those are the talks I would rather have than the BS that we tend to have. So, it's more frustrating, really.
I agree with that. I think I've heard that rule before. Yeah, they do it in Spain and Germany. So, you got to have 2 Germans on the court at all times if you want to have more Americans.
Exactly, yeah.
It's good to have the Americans on, but in the team. But I think what a lot of people don't like is too much of them because it's some people feel a certain way that it's not helping the league. But having Americans over, it does help the league in a way. At the same time, to develop as well. So it's all about everyone working together. But
exactly, yeah. And that's another one. I get frustrated with Basketball England. They've been very helpful for me. They gave me great opportunities with Coach Chema with the Commonwealth and stuff like that. And they put me on this coaching thing for this during this year. So they're very good, but they've got a tainted view, in my opinion, of people going to the States and saying, oh, it's not for them. Look at these bad experiences. But even Flo. So Flo played for me, and she was on CJ's podcast tonight, and saying, she had a tough first 2 years. But I guarantee all these players, even the players I recruit, I would say 90% of them didn't enjoy majority of their college career. Would they go back and change it? No, because they might have been in Florida. They're getting stuff paid for. So, whether they agree with the coach and the culture there is so much different, and the sponsorship. So until, whether it's Basketball England work with universities and they can say, right, we can give Holly Winterburn, for example, we'll pay her full tuition, we'll put her in and then we want the university to put her in accommodation. What stipend can you give her? Then maybe you might start keeping some of the better British players. But we can't. I probably have one of the better budgets, and I can only get postgrads because there's no way I can pay if I paid $9.5 grand, that's a third of my budget gone, and that's how much it costs for tuition. So you know, like, it's just not realistic, and I think it's frustrating when they don't want to send kids. Like, of course, it has to be the right for the kids to go and the right situation, and that's why, you know, doing your due diligence helps. But like, I think it's a great opportunity, whether they quit basketball, whether they don't quit basketball, they have life experiences, to have something paid for instead of coming out with 45 grand's worth of debt. My gosh, go and enjoy it, see if you can. Like, I had Maya Price here last year. She didn't think she was good enough. She came up, and then all my Americans were like, she's really good. What's she doing here? I was like, I have no clue. Like, I'm happy she came, but like, we were telling her she should go, and then she goes, oh, do you think I can go? I was like, 100%. And then I've got some good connections. She went to a place called Etgood with a great coach, really develops the players, right on the beach in Tampa, where in St. Pete. So, you know, it's a beautiful place to be. She's loving it. You know, she's absolutely loving it. And I was like, look, you better come back to do your master's. She's like, of course. So, like, you know, like, I would much rather players have that opportunity, and if it's not for them, then they come back, and if it is for them, they'll stay and progress. So, like, I think that's how we should continue to work.
Definitely. I agree with that one. All right, we'll get into this next bit.
Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris.